Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. If you could please turn your cameras on, that'll help me get to know you all a little bit better. So welcome to December 1st, PRLU monthly provider call. We do have a couple of speakers on for today. And if you're having any issues with hearing me, please let me know. But I did just want to welcome you all, and we made it to the end of the year, so happy about that. And I'll just turn it over. So we'll go ahead and get into things. We will have Brenda Burr. She has an announcement, and we have Amy Webb from DHS. She'll be discussing some things with you all, and then we'll just go over briefly some just questions or updates for interview providers. So, Ms. Brenda, I'll let you have it.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm the program coordinator with the background check unit. We wanted to announce that we're going to have some provider calls for the background check unit. These are going to be done quarterly. I will put a link in the chat box with my name as well, and my phone number and contact information, and the link to these trainings that we're going to provide. And that's all I had.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have Miss Amy Webb. And Miss Amy, I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of explain what you're here to discuss.
Sure. Thanks, Ebony. My name is Amy Webb. I'm the interim chief of staff for the Secretary of DHS, and wear a couple of other hats as well right now. But I'm here today to talk about the unwinding of the public health emergency. And why that matters to you all is for those of you who serve Medicaid clients. This could impact them. And so we're wanting to just give everybody some background information about the public health emergency and the unwinding and what that means. And then I'll take any questions. And I am going to share a few slides. And I am not going to share them in presentation mode because my computer does not like that. And so all right, so just for background, for those of you who are not immersed in this every day like I am, when President Trump signed the Families First Coronavirus Response Act in March of 2020, it gave states enhanced federal Medicaid funding to help through the pandemic. But that was conditional. And that condition was that states agreed to keep people on Medicaid, even if they were no longer eligible, through the end of the public health emergency. And so there were a few exceptions to that. If people died or were incarcerated, or asked that their coverage in, or if they moved out of state, then those folks were disenrolled. Everyone else remained enrolled. And so what that has resulted in, as you can see, is a significant increase in the number of Medicaid enrollees. These numbers are from mid-October, and we've seen an almost 23% increase in the number of enrollees, and a significant number of them are children. And I'm going to talk fast, so if I talk too fast, please don't hesitate to interrupt me and ask a question. So just a little background on what we've been doing and kind of what the process will look like. So DHS and Arkansas is in a good position because we have continued to process renewals and redetermine people's eligibility throughout the public health emergency. We were not disenrolling people, but we continued that work. There are some states that did not continue that work, but because we continued that work, we know that they're right now, there are about 385,000 people who have had their cases extended. That doesn't mean that they are not eligible, but it means that we don't have the information to determine their eligibility, or that we have determined that they were ineligible, but they've kept their coverage. They also could have aged out of care. So for example, our home is through age 64. And so maybe they were 65, but they've kept their coverage, or their level of care has changed. So all of those people have stayed on, and they will have to have their eligibility redetermined. So right now we're all in it's a little bit of a waiting game. We had anticipated, which is one of the reasons why we had scheduled to participate in this call, that we would get an announcement in November that the public health emergency would unwind or start unwinding in January. We did not get that. The federal government has promised states at least 60 days notice. And since we didn't get that, we know that the public health emergency will not end in January. And we anticipate the new end date will be April the 11th. And if that is the actual end date, and it has been extended for 90 days, every 90 days for the last 2.5 years. So if it is not extended, then we should know that February the 11th. And state law requires Arkansas to then begin redetermining eligibility and to wrap that up within 6 months of the end of the public health emergency. And so all of those 385,000 individuals who have been extended, we need to get their eligibility redetermined within 6 months. And I probably do not need to tell you all this, but this will be the largest and most complex thing that DHS has undertaken related to eligibility in more than a decade, maybe ever. It is quite a complex effort. Just for background, for those of you who might be interested in it, this is a breakdown. And again, this is of mid-October. I haven't updated these numbers, but they're pretty similar. This is a breakdown by category of the people who are extended. So you can see there's a large number of our kids, A and B kids on there as well. So I'm going to stop sharing here and just say a few more things. So because this is such a huge undertaking, and it's quite complicated, we've been working on this for about a year to come up with plans and processes for undoing all of this and redetermining eligibility in a way that's manageable for our workers. And so for some of our more vulnerable populations, like skilled nursing, our choices, those types of things, we're already working to get those people redetermined because we expect that most of them will continue to be eligible. And that way we can get them back as a regular enrollee rather than an extended enrollee. And we've got a number of efforts underway, and we'll continue efforts to contact providers, to particularly primary care physicians, pediatricians, to try to get them to work with the families that we know are extended to get them to do their renewals. And in addition to that, there are some.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
There are some a series of Medicaid rules that have also been changed or more flexible throughout the public health emergency that we will also unwind all of those. So I could go on and on because, like I say, I've been living this for almost a year, but I will open it up for questions if anyone has any questions.
Do you know how long it'll take for like their process to occur for like each client?
So it'll start with, we typically send renewal notices for like the Our Kids, Our Home, Parent Caretaker, the regular populations 90 days before they are due. So if we get notice in February that it will end in April, then we have a renewal schedule, and we'll go ahead and start sending out notices. And we're doing our more complex categories first, like skilled nursing, because we send those out 120 days in advance, and they require both financial and medical. And so we'll start sending those out, and then it'll be the regular process. So people will get the renewal notice. They will also get a reminder notice throughout that process. And then as soon as our folks get it, they'll, go about processing it to get it done in a timely manner to process it. All the regular categories like our kids, we will start by trying to do them ex parte, which means our systems will do the checks. And if we can verify everything that way, they'll just get a notice that say we're renewed and move on. For those that can't go through ex parte, then we go out and send the renewal notice. The renewal notice is pre-populated with all their information to kind of help them. It'll just be the normal process going through that.
Hi, this is Renessa. So potentially 6 months from now, depending on a resident's renewal date, they could have Medicaid one day and it shut off the next day.
Depending on their renewal date, it will work the same in terms of how we do it today related to ending coverage. Like they won't end it right that moment. They get a notice, and the notice will say, if you don't send us in the information, your coverage will close at the end of the month, and here's the date it'll close on. And so they'll have advance notice of the closure.
The guardian will, but potentially not. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Now I will say that for like pediatricians and primary care physicians, we are sending lists of extended clients so that they're aware. And we probably could do something for PRLUs, but we wouldn't, because that population turns over. Like we wouldn't want to do that now because it wouldn't do any good for y'all now. But if that's something y'all think would be helpful, we could talk about that. All right, well, if no other questions, I will turn it back to regular business. And thank you all for having me. And if you have any questions later, please feel free to email me. It's just amy.webb@dhs.arkansas.gov.
Thank you so much, Amy. And we'll try to get that in the chat box for everyone. We do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're not going to hold you long today, but we did want to just kind of bring up a few issues that we've seen kind of trending throughout PRLU, and that involves de-escalation. So, and I just kind of wanted to briefly discuss with you all when you notice that things are escalating within your units, is there like a sign that your staff knows, like, hey, I think this is going to get out of hand? Do you think your staff know how to identify those issues when things are escalating? And if it gets beyond escalation, do you believe that your staff know how to de-escalate situations before they become a really big problem? And so that's what we're seeing now. So a few agencies have been having really big problems. And so we're just trying to see if anyone can share what has helped your agency when it comes to de-escalation or identifying when something is about to escalate. Can anybody provide any feedback on that?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, hey, how you doing today?
Hey, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, I can say here, one of the things that has worked with us is leadership modeling of de-escalation, like when we go when we hear staff assistance is needed. So them seeing us model it ourselves We're also just always having a program like we've had TBRI. We're really excited about, we're in the midst of training for conscious discipline. That's exciting. So just making sure that, especially the therapist, myself and leadership is modeling the de-escalation so they can feel supported and they can have an out. They can have a few minutes to take a break. And then we bring them back and, so coaching in the moment, because training is wonderful. But I think when they're able to see it in real time, that's what makes it more effective.
Very good. Anyone else?
I was going to mention, this is Trish Marshall, and I'm at the Piney Ridge Center in Fayetteville, and we have switched to Handle with Care. And I know that your system that you use for therapeutic holds and therapeutic de-escalation is only as good as those who buy into it. But Handle with Care has a tension reduction cycle. And so you really review those behaviors that are on the low end of escalation, and your responses to that are whether it's support or looking at a child's body and how they're escalating through that. So we've completely converted to Handle with Care. We're really putting a major focus on the de-escalation pieces of it before we get to the hold. So you have a lot of things you're looking for prior to a hold, which is just looking at the child, intervening early, providing support rather than going directly to some sort of power struggle. So I think, and maybe Renessa can back me up on this, that we have had some good results from using the Handle with Care system.
Hi, this is Renessa. Yes, and some of the other things we do at Piney, which I'm sure everybody else does, but we have what we call a Q15, where that's the observations that staff have to write down approximately every 15 minutes on a resident. On the back of that, we have what we call an ICMP, which is an individualized crisis management plan, because, we have over 90 kids and there may be 90 different ways that somebody can respond. And so for each resident, we have it individualized on the progress or the Q15 that the staff have with them at all times. And if that one resident is struggling, they can, flip it around and look at what helps that resident. Of course, one of the things that Justin talks about here is connection before correction. It's really important for all the staff really to have a good relationship with the resident, meaning learning about them, interacting with them when they're not acting out. So when you do need to correct them, they'll be more receptive to that. I can kind of go on and on with different things we do, but I do think that the connection and each resident having that individualized crisis management plan can help. One other thing I'll say is we do safety huddles where all the staff before the shift get together and talk about whether it's high flying situations or units that are struggling. The administrator on call goes to that at times. We have the therapist on call. We have nurses there, and we try to identify the residents that are struggling and make a plan ahead of time of how to help them.
Okay, very good. I like that. So Miss Renessa, Miss Trish, and Mr. Jackson, if you all don't mind, could you put your email address in there just in case someone may want to reach out to you in the chat box, and maybe they can get some additional information on, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about this program or initiative that you're using? So I think that'll be very helpful to other providers who may not be ready to ask questions yet. I'm not sure. So we do, I'm sorry, did anybody have any other questions or any other statements? Mr. Arnold, it's nice to see you, sir. Is everything okay at your agency? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, if I could get my mouse to working, we're doing good. No, we
Great.
are, we've got new house parents coming in about 2 weeks. So we're excited about that, getting them orientated and trained up. And we're remodeling. I've changed offices again. We're getting new windows in our building. So That's gonna be a big help. Our building was built in 1919 and 1920. So we're finally gonna get some energy efficient windows, hopefully.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to hear.
Things are still moving
All
all at the
righty,
same time.
good deal. And so is Miss Massey, is your hand up? Is that a hand? Or did I make that up? Okay, maybe she hasn't said anything.
No, if I
So-
did, it was an
Oh,
accident.
Okay. So some of your agencies are hiring new staff. And so please consider that, it's really important to spend time with working with your new staff and really getting to understand what your agency does, just in case they may have to go before the board. You want your staff to be able to clearly define or clearly state what they need concerning your agency. So please keep that in mind as you continue to hire new staff. Really work with them and kind of give them a history of the agency. And just what to expect, some things that may happen or some things that may come up, some unexpected issues, and just how to address those issues. If any of you all feel that you all need to work with the licensing unit just to kind of maybe, hey, these new regulations are not really familiar with us, we can get with our licensing specialist and kind of do an intent training with you all. You just need to let us know about what your needs are, and we'll go through the whole entire the placement or residential standards manual. So just let us know if you need some additional assistance with really understanding the intent of the regulations that have come out. So we also have, I wanted to talk to you all about Christmas time. And so I have teenagers in my home. And so sometimes they get a little bit stimulated around this time and they just like, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that. So we do know that for the most part, the youth in your facilities or in your homes or youth that you're working with are away from their families or loved ones or friends. Are any of them, or is your agency having any issues with kind of like getting them through the holidays, or have they had any questions for you all about, hey, what does this look like for Christmas? Like, if they can, do I get any visitations? Do we get to have a Christmas celebration on our unit? Do we get to put up a tree? I don't know about tree, but do we get to do any decorations? Like, what are you guys doing to kind of help your youth at your facilities get through the holidays?
Hello?
Hey, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, so we're having a Christmas spirit week, a holiday spirit week, where and it's not just for the kids, it's for the staff as well. So it's a morale builder and a resident activity thing. We're having instead of trees, we're having paper trees, wall trees.
Yeah.
So they're gonna cut out construction paper and make wall trees. So just in case someone rips it down, we can keep it moving and it's not a safety issue.
Right, right.
We're doing a Christmas employee appreciation party with the kids. What we do is we prep them ahead of time. For instance, our activity coordinators have made an activity calendar for the entire month, so they know ahead of time what's going on. We've contacted all our DHS caseworkers and say, hey, what are your plans for visiting your kids? What are the plans for the gifts? So I think pre-planning and letting the kids know what's going to happen and following through with it, along with having extra activities when they're out of school, is really working. We're also going to have a holiday program where they showcase talent and artwork.
Good.
So just keeping it moving with activities around Christmas, and like we're decorating our doors, and then the kids are going to come around and judge the doors.
Yeah.
But just, not only engaging the kids, but the staff, it also works. It works well together.
Good plan. Anyone else have anything going on?
Well, we're doing quite a few things for Christmas. I was just looking at our calendar here. We're decorating our units. We're getting a caroling group together to go around and carol to the units and admin. We're doing a gingerbread house competition. We're having a holiday assembly as well. The school's taking the kids out ice skating. We're fortunate to have some really great light shows here. Downtown in Fayetteville has an amazing light show. So the kids are going to go see the Christmas lights there. We're doing some service outings with the kids. So they're going to go and provide some service to Lifehouse International. So kind of do a Christmas service outing as well, having a holiday movie day, hot cocoa day, really trying to do a lot to keep kids engaged with holiday activities. Knowing at my years in residential, I know that kids it's a sad time unless you really try to keep them very busy and engaged in some activities. So we're doing a lot. We've got, like Mr. Jackson said, that pre-planned calendar we have posted out on the unit so the kids can see what to look forward to and the activities they have. So it's going to be hopefully a very nice December. We've got some staff dinner that we're doing as well for the staff. Ernest, anything else?
You have to brag on yesterday.
Oh, guys, I have to brag on yesterday. So yesterday, 47 students went to Crystal Bridges and toured the museum and saw the Constitution and saw some artwork of some famous artists and our artwork of the artist that painted the picture of President Obama had his display there. There's just they saw so many neat things. It was a once in a lifetime outing for them. They had been studying the first 9 weeks about the Constitution prior to going, and kids had perfect attendance that went and never missed a day of school. And so it wasn't just, scares risk, but we took a lot of kids and they did terrifically. The feedback was these kids went through that museum and were some of the best students there. So I get a little chill bumps thinking about it because I'm so excited for those kids to have this once in a lifetime type event to go to an internationally known museum.
Very good.
Thank you for reminding me, Renissa.
So yeah, we love to hear those types of things. That's a really nice museum up there if you guys haven't been. And so it's always good to hear that, you can get your youth out of the building and safely without any issues.
Oh yeah.
Get to enjoy things out in the community. So just keep that goal in mind. And so I did want to talk about, there was another agency, I believe it was CYS, and they were kind of letting us know, like, hey, we had a really challenging youth when she first got here, but now she's working and she's doing really well. And so those things are what I think it's all about. Like, so we want to eventually get them to a point where they can be able to, live in society or get back to things as they would be if they were not in that type of environment. So thank you all so much for everything that you do for the youth. I know it's really challenging, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And we really appreciate what you're all doing. So I wanted to ask Ms. Shea if you have anything to share.
Yes, good morning. Just a quick reminder for all the psychiatric residential providers that are on the call. We will have our PRTF provider call on December 15th at 10 a.m. So I look forward to hearing from you guys and seeing your smiling faces at that meeting on that day.
Okay. And so just a reminder that Brenda Bird from the Regulatory Check Unit indicated that they will be hosting, is it trainings? Is that correct?
We've been offering for the background check system, for the NICAR system, monthly provider calls for childcare. And so we're going to continue that, but it's going to be quarterly, and we are wanting to do them for the welfare side as well. So on that link that I provided, it shows the quarterly meetings for the welfare side. So just jump on those meetings and then we can help with the background checks, how to get those processed. And if you have any questions for the background check unit, Kayla and I will be there at those dates and times.
Okay, thank you so much,
You're
Brenda.
welcome.
And then Miss Amy Webb, she's no longer on the meeting, but just a reminder about the Medicaid. I think she called it unwinding. So you have about 6 months to get yourself prepared for what's about to occur. So I think it's important for you all to kind of stay on top of that Medicaid so you won't get in an issue where there's like no payment for services if that's how it works. So please keep that in mind. And as she sends me information, we'll get that out to everyone as well. So and so I think that's all that I have. Anything from, let me see who's on here. Rebecca Mitchell, do you have anything?
I don't have anything today, but I really am kind of just inspired by all the holiday stuff I'm hearing going on out there.
Okay, well, if no one else has any other questions or any other statements, I wish you all a happy holidays and a safe month of December is flying by. And if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. So thank you so much and continue to enjoy your day. Thank you.